My beloved child, tonight, I want you to stop running for a moment and listen carefully. There is something your heart has been trying to understand, but fear keeps interrupting the conversation. You have been asking me for signs. You have been looking for answers. You have been wondering whether I am still working behind the scenes of your life. And today I am telling you this. I have not forgotten you. Not for one moment. Not during the nights when you cried without telling anyone. Not during the days when you smiled in front of others while carrying a storm inside your heart. I saw every tear. I heard every silent prayer. I counted every moment you almost gave up but chose to keep walking. My child, many people believe I only work when they can see movement. But some of my greatest miracles begin underground like seeds hidden beneath the soil. The seed looks forgotten. The seed looks buried. The seed looks abandoned. Yet beneath the surface, life is already forming, and that is exactly where many of my children are today. You think nothing is happening because you cannot see it. But I am working in places your eyes cannot reach. I am opening conversations you know nothing about. I am moving hearts you cannot influence. I am arranging moments that have not yet arrived. I am preparing answers that are already on their way. Do not let the silence convince you that I have left. Silence is not absence. Waiting is not rejection. Delay is not abandonment. There are doors I have not opened because they would have taken you away from the purpose I created for you. There are opportunities I removed because they looked like blessings but carried hidden pain. There are relationships I separated because I could see what was waiting further down the road. My child, trust me with what you do not understand. A father sees farther than the child standing beside him. You only see today's disappointment. I see tomorrow's protection. You only see the closed door. I see the danger behind it. You only see the waiting. I see the preparation. That is why I need you to keep your eyes on me and not on your circumstances, because fear grows when you stare at problems. Faith grows when you remember who is walking beside you, and I am still beside you. Even now. Even here. Even in this season. The breakthrough you seek is closer than you realize. But before I change your circumstances, I am strengthening your spirit. Before I open the next door, I am preparing you to walk through it. Before I release the blessing, I am building the foundation that can sustain it. So do not lose heart. Do not measure my faithfulness by the speed of the answer. Measure it by the countless times I have carried you when you thought you could not continue. The story is not over. The door is not closed forever. The promise has not expired, and your future is still safely held within my hands. Stay close to me. Pray even when you feel weak. Trust even when you cannot see. And remember this: the same God who carried you through yesterday is already standing in your tomorrow. I am with you. I am for you. And I am still writing a beautiful ending to the story you thought was falling apart. My beloved child, there is something I need you to understand tonight. Many of the battles exhausting your heart were never meant to be carried by your strength alone. You have spent so much time trying to hold everything together, trying to keep everyone happy, trying to prevent every problem, trying to understand every delay, trying to control every outcome. And because of this, your soul has become tired. Not because you are weak, but because you have been carrying burdens that belong in my hands. Listen carefully. There is a difference between responsibility and burden. I have called you to walk faithfully. I have never called you to carry the weight of the entire journey by yourself. Yet many of my children spend years carrying fears about tomorrow that have not even happened. They carry conversations that have not taken place. They carry failures that have not occurred. They carry disasters that exist only inside their imagination. And while they are carrying tomorrow's worries, they miss today's grace. My child, I am not standing in your future with anxiety. I am standing there with provision. I am standing there with wisdom. I am standing there with protection. I am standing there with doors that you cannot yet see. So why are you allowing fear to tell you a story that I never wrote? Fear always speaks in the language of certainty. It says, what if everything goes wrong? What if you fail? What if you lose what matters most? What if nothing changes? But fear never tells you the whole story. Fear speaks about possibilities. I speak about promises. Fear points toward darkness. I point toward purpose. Fear shows you closed doors. I show you the road beyond them. My beloved child, remember Peter when he stepped out onto the water, as long as his eyes remained fixed on my son. He walked where human strength could never carry him. But the moment he became consumed by the wind and the waves around him, fear entered his heart. The storm did not become stronger. His focus simply changed. And the same thing happens to many of my children today. The problem becomes larger in their minds than the God who walks beside them. The storm becomes louder than the promise. The obstacle becomes more visible than my presence. Yet I ask you tonight, what would happen if you looked at me more often than you looked at your fears? What would happen if you trusted my character more than your circumstances? What would happen if you remembered that I have carried you through every previous storm? You are still here. You survived things you once thought would destroy you. You walked through seasons that felt impossible. You cried tears you thought would never stop. And yet here you are, still breathing, still standing, still loved, still held by my hand. My child, you often ask me for strength, but sometimes I answer that prayer by teaching you surrender, because there are battles that cannot be won through striving. There are wounds that cannot be healed through effort. There are answers that cannot be forced into existence. Some victories arrive only when you finally trust me enough to let go. I know there are things you are still holding tightly. Dreams, plans, relationships, expectations, questions, disappointments. You hold them because you fear that if you release them, everything will fall apart. But what if the reason your hands feel so exhausted is because they were never meant to carry those things forever? What if I am asking you to release them not because I want to take them away, but because I want to carry them for you, my beloved child? The seed does not grow because it worries. The flower does not bloom because it strives. The sunrise does not appear because someone forced it to happen. I have built my creation around trust. The seed trusts the soil. The tree trusts the seasons. The river trusts the path prepared for it. And I am asking you to trust me in the same way. Not because you understand everything, but because I see everything. There are blessings already moving toward you. There are answers already being prepared. There are opportunities already taking shape. There are people I am already positioning. There are lessons I am already teaching. And there are victories I am already arranging. You cannot see them yet, but I can. That is why I need you to stop measuring progress only by visible evidence. Some of the greatest transformations happen in hidden places. Roots grow underground. Gold is refined in fire. Character is built in waiting. Faith becomes strong in seasons when nothing seems to be happening. Do not despise this season. You may call it delay. I may call it preparation. You may call it silence. I may call it training. You may call it a setback. I may call it protection. Because what appears confusing from your perspective often looks very different from mine. My beloved child, there will come a day when you look back at this season and understand why certain doors stayed closed. You will understand why certain people left. You will understand why certain plans failed. You will understand why certain prayers were delayed. And on that day you will realize that even when you could not see my hand, I never stopped guiding your steps. So tonight, release the pressure to have every answer. Release the pressure to fix everything. Release the pressure to control every outcome, and simply walk with me, one step at a time, one prayer at a time, one day at a time. Because the future you are worrying about is already known by me, and the path ahead is already beneath my eyes. Rest now, my child, for while you are resting, I am still working. While you are waiting, I am still moving. While you are wondering, I am still preparing, and what I am preparing is greater than what you have feared. But there is one more thing you must understand. The greatest obstacle standing before your next season is not the enemy outside of you. It is the doubt that has quietly taken root within your heart. And that is what I am about to deal with next. My beloved child, come closer. For tonight I want to speak to the place within you that no one else can see. The place behind the smile. The place behind the strong words. The place behind the faith you show to others. I want to speak to the hidden battle inside your heart, because there is something that has been quietly stealing your peace, not all at once, not like a sudden storm, but little by little, day after day, thought after thought, question after question, until the confidence you once carried began to feel distant. And that thing is doubt. My child, many people think doubt arrives with loud rebellion, but often it arrives in silence. It arrives disguised as disappointment. It arrives disguised as exhaustion. It arrives disguised as unanswered questions. You prayed, and the answer did not come when you expected. You believed, and the door remained closed. You trusted, and someone still betrayed you. You hoped, and circumstances still became difficult. Slowly, the enemy began whispering. Maybe God has forgotten you. Maybe nothing will ever change. Maybe your prayers are not being heard. Maybe the promise was never for you. But listen carefully. Those words did not come from me, because I have never spoken hopelessness over your life. I have never called you abandoned. I have never called you forgotten. I have never looked at your future and declared defeat. The voice of fear always predicts failure, but my voice always leads toward faith. My beloved child, the enemy understands something that many people do not. If he cannot destroy your calling, he will try to make you doubt it. If he cannot stop the promise, he will try to make you walk away from it. If he cannot remove the blessing, he will try to convince you that it is never coming. Because doubt is often the final battlefield before breakthrough. Think about Joseph. Before the palace came the prison. Before the promotion came the betrayal. Before the dream was fulfilled, everything appeared to be falling apart. There were nights when Joseph could have easily concluded that the dream was dead. Yet what looked like delay was actually preparation. What looked like abandonment was actually positioning. What looked like loss was actually redirection. And my child, the same can be true for you. There are events in your life that make no sense right now. There are chapters that feel unfinished. There are wounds that still ache. There are questions that remain unanswered. But you are trying to judge the entire story while standing in the middle of the page. You cannot see what I am writing in the chapters ahead. I need you to trust me with the pages you have not read yet, because I am still writing. I am still arranging. I am still moving, and I am still working behind the curtain of what you can currently see. My beloved child, there is another reason I brought you here tonight. Because some of you have secretly become tired, not physically, spiritually. You are exhausted from carrying invisible burdens. You are tired of waiting, tired of hoping, tired of trying, tired of pretending everything is fine. And there were moments recently when you wondered if you had enough strength to keep moving forward. But listen carefully. The fact that you are still here is proof that I have been sustaining you, because there were battles you should not have survived. There were heartbreaks that should have broken you completely. There were seasons that should have destroyed your faith, yet somehow you kept moving. Somehow you kept praying. Somehow you kept believing. Do you know why? Because my hand never left you, even when you could not feel it, even when you could not see it, even when you questioned it. I was carrying you through places where your own strength could never have been enough. My beloved child, stop measuring your future by your current emotions. Emotions change, storms change, seasons change, circumstances change, but my promises do not change. I am the same God who opened seas, the same God who fed thousands, the same God who raised what appeared dead, and I have not lost my power. The problem is not that I have stopped working. The problem is that fear has been trying to convince you to stop expecting. Tonight, I am breaking that agreement. Tonight, I am calling your spirit to rise again. Rise above disappointment. Rise above fear. Rise above comparison. Rise above regret. Rise above the voices that told you it was too late, because it is not too late. Not while I am still writing your story. My beloved child, you have been asking for a sign, and perhaps this message itself is part of the answer. Because I want you to know something. Your greatest days are not behind you. Your purpose is not behind you. Your calling is not behind you. Your usefulness is not behind you. The enemy wants you looking backward. I am calling you forward. Forward into healing. Forward into freedom. Forward into purpose. Forward into peace. Forward into the season I have been preparing while you thought nothing was happening. The door may not be open yet, but the key is already being shaped. The harvest may not be visible yet, but the roots are already growing. The morning may not have fully arrived, but dawn has already begun. My beloved child, do not quit during the final stretch. Do not walk away while heaven is still working. Do not surrender your faith because of temporary darkness. The night feels longest just before the first light appears on the horizon, and there are things beginning to move that you cannot yet see. There are prayers approaching their appointed moment. There are answers drawing closer. There are chains preparing to break. There are blessings preparing to arrive. There are tears preparing to become testimonies. And there are chapters preparing to make sense of everything that once confused you. So lift your head, take a deep breath, and remember who walks beside you. You are not alone. You have never been alone, and you will never be alone. Because your Father is still leading you, still protecting you, still healing you, still preparing you, still loving you, and still bringing you toward a future greater than anything fear has shown you. But before that future fully arrives, there is one final truth I need your heart to understand. The breakthrough you have been waiting for does not begin around you. It begins within you, and that is where I will meet you next. My beloved child, the breakthrough you have been waiting for does not begin around you. It begins within you. Before I change circumstances, I often change hearts. Before I open doors, I prepare souls. Before I release the harvest, I strengthen the roots. And before I lead you into a new season, I teach you how to trust me in the season you are already standing in. Many people spend their lives waiting for the outside world to change. They say, when this problem disappears, then I will have peace. When this door opens, then I will trust. When this prayer is answered, then I will rejoice. But my child, true peace was never meant to depend on circumstances. If peace depends upon circumstances, then every storm can steal it. But the peace I give is different. It remains when answers are delayed. It remains when tears still fall. It remains when questions remain unanswered. Because it is rooted not in what happens around you, but in who walks beside you. My beloved child, there is something beautiful happening inside you that you may not yet recognize. You have been praying for strength. And while you were looking for a miracle outside yourself, I was quietly building strength within you. You prayed for patience, and I allowed you to walk through waiting. You prayed for wisdom, and I allowed you to face difficult choices. You prayed for deeper faith, and I allowed you to keep walking even when you could not clearly see the road ahead. The very things you thought were working against you have often been the tools I was using to prepare you. Nothing has been wasted. Not the tears, not the waiting, not the disappointment, not the nights when you felt alone, not even the mistakes you regret. I am able to bring purpose from pain, beauty from ashes, hope from broken places, light from the darkest nights. My beloved child, look back for a moment. Think about the person you were years ago. Think about the fears that once controlled you. Think about the battles that once seemed impossible. Think about the storms you thought would destroy you, yet here you stand. Different, stronger, wiser, more compassionate, more understanding, more dependent upon me. The journey has changed you, and while you focused on reaching the destination, I was also transforming the traveler, because the greatest miracle was never only the blessing ahead, it was the person you were becoming while walking toward it. My child, do not fear the future. The future belongs to me. Do not fear tomorrow. I am already there. Do not fear what you cannot understand. My wisdom reaches beyond what your eyes can see. There are moments ahead that will make you smile again. There are prayers ahead that will become testimonies. There are blessings ahead that will remind you why you never gave up. There are encounters ahead that will restore your hope. There are seasons ahead that will heal wounds you thought would always hurt. The chapter you are standing in today is not the end of the story. It is only a page, only a moment, only a season. And seasons change. Winter does not remain forever. Night does not remain forever. Storms do not remain forever. The dawn always comes. And my child, the dawn is closer than you think. Even now I am working behind scenes you cannot see. Even now I am opening paths you do not yet recognize. Even now I am arranging details that will one day make perfect sense. Trust me with what you cannot understand. Trust me with what you cannot control. Trust me with what you cannot carry. Place it all into my hands, your fears, your questions, your family, your future, your disappointments, your hopes, your dreams, your unanswered prayers. Place them all before me, because what is surrendered into my hands is always safer than what is held tightly in fear, my beloved child. Before you continue, pause for a moment and listen carefully. There is something I have been trying to whisper to your heart for a very long time, not through fear, not through pressure, not through the noise of the world, but through the quiet places where only you and I remain. Many of my children spend their lives searching for signs around them, while ignoring the voice already speaking within them. They keep asking, "Father, where are you?" Yet I have been walking beside them all along. They ask, "Why are you silent?" Yet my voice has been reaching them through countless moments they called ordinary. My child, I have spoken to you more times than you realize. I have spoken through unexpected peace when anxiety should have consumed you. I have spoken through closed doors that protected you from paths that would have wounded your soul. I have spoken through delays that seemed painful, but ultimately saved you from greater sorrow. I have spoken through people I placed in your life at exactly the right moment. And I have spoken through moments when everything around you felt uncertain, yet something deep inside you kept whispering, "Keep going." That whisper was not an accident. It was me. Because even when you cannot hear thunder, the Father still speaks. Even when there is no dramatic sign from heaven, I am still guiding your steps. My beloved child, you often think that growth happens only during seasons of victory, but some of the greatest transformations happen during seasons that feel ordinary. The seed does not break through the soil the day it is planted. Roots grow first, hidden, unseen, silent. And because they are hidden, many people assume nothing is happening. But hidden does not mean inactive. Silence does not mean absence. Waiting does not mean failure. Right now there are things growing inside you that you cannot yet measure. Your patience is growing. Your wisdom is growing. Your discernment is growing. Your compassion is growing. Your spiritual strength is growing. And one day what has been developing beneath the surface will become visible to everyone around you. But for now, trust the process. Trust what I am doing in secret. Trust what I am building beneath the surface of your life. Because I never rush what I intend to last. My child, there are battles you thought were sent to destroy you, but they were actually revealing parts of your heart that still needed healing. I allowed certain storms not because I stopped loving you, but because I loved you too much to leave you unchanged. Gold is refined in fire. Faith is strengthened through testing. Character is formed through perseverance. And wisdom often grows through seasons of struggle. I know some days have been difficult. I know there were nights when tears became your only language. I know there were moments when disappointment felt heavier than hope. I know there were times when you wondered whether your efforts mattered at all. But look at you now. You are still standing, still believing, still searching for me, still reaching for hope. And that alone is evidence that my grace has been carrying you. Because without my hand upon you, you would have given up long ago. My beloved child, there is another truth I want you to remember. Stop measuring your worth by what the world applauds. The world celebrates visibility. I celebrate faithfulness. The world rewards performance. I look at the heart. The world notices public victories. I notice private obedience. Many of the things that matter most to me will never receive applause from people. The prayer nobody heard, the kindness nobody noticed, the forgiveness nobody expected, the sacrifice nobody understood, the tears nobody witnessed. I see all of it, and nothing done in love is ever wasted before me. Every act of obedience becomes a seed. Every seed has a season, and every season eventually produces fruit. So do not grow weary. Do not become discouraged. Do not compare your journey with someone else's. Their assignment is not your assignment. Their season is not your season. Their path is not your path. I am writing a story that is uniquely yours, and I know exactly what chapters are still ahead. My child, a day is coming when many things that confuse you now will finally make sense. You will understand why certain doors remained closed. You will understand why certain relationships ended. You will understand why certain delays lasted longer than you wanted. You will understand why some prayers were answered differently than you expected. And when that day comes, you will see that my wisdom was protecting you even when my plans seemed mysterious. You will discover that what looked like rejection was often redirection. What looked like loss was preparation. What looked like waiting was development. And what looked like silence was actually me working behind the scenes. My beloved child, the chapter ahead requires a different version of you, a stronger version, a wiser version, a more peaceful version, a version of you that trusts me even when certainty is unavailable. That is why I am teaching you now. That is why I am shaping you now. That is why I am strengthening you now. Because what I have prepared for you will require everything I am building within you today. So lift your head. The story is not slowing down. The story is moving forward. Heaven has not forgotten your name. Your prayers have not been ignored. Your tears have not been wasted. And your future has not been abandoned. I am still the author of your story. I am still the keeper of every promise. I am still the shepherd guiding your path. And I am still the Father who loves you beyond anything you can imagine. So walk forward without fear. Walk forward without despair. Walk forward knowing that every step you take with me is leading somewhere beautiful. Because the journey is not ending here, my beloved child. The most beautiful chapters are still being written. To be continued. My beloved child, the most beautiful chapters are still being written. And now, before this message comes to its end, there is one final truth I want you to carry deep within your soul. A truth that will remain with you long after these words have faded. A truth that darkness cannot erase. A truth that fear cannot silence. A truth that time itself cannot destroy. Listen carefully. You were never created merely to survive. You were created to become everything I placed within you before the foundation of your journey. For many years you have looked at yourself through the lens of your failures. You have measured yourself by broken dreams. You have judged yourself according to mistakes you made during seasons when you were hurting. You have carried labels that I never placed upon you. You called yourself weak. You called yourself forgotten. You called yourself unworthy. You called yourself behind. But my child, that is not how your Father sees you. When I look at you, I do not first see your failures. I see the courage that kept you moving when everything inside you wanted to quit. I see the faith that survived storms. I see the kindness you showed while carrying your own pain. I see the prayers you whispered when nobody else knew you were struggling. I see the tears you cried in secret. I see the battles you fought when nobody was watching. And I tell you today, you are stronger than you realize. Not because of your own power, but because my hand has been holding you through every season. My beloved child, there will come a day when you fully understand why certain roads were necessary. One day the pieces will come together. The confusion, the waiting, the heartbreak, the unanswered questions, the disappointments, the delays, the closed doors, the lonely seasons, the silent nights. One day you will look back and see that none of it was meaningless. What looked like detours were actually directions. What looked like setbacks were preparations. What looked like endings were new beginnings wearing unfamiliar clothes. And when you finally see the entire picture, your heart will understand that I never abandoned you for a single moment. Even during the days when you felt forgotten, I was there. Even during the nights when you cried yourself to sleep, I was there. Even during the moments when your faith trembled, I was there. Even during the seasons when you could not feel my presence. I was carrying you, my child. The enemy tried to convince you that your story was over, but your story was never in his hands. It has always been in mine. He showed you your wounds. I saw your healing. He showed you your failures. I saw your future. He showed you the storm. I saw the sunrise already waiting beyond it. Because I see what you cannot yet see. I see the version of you that is still emerging. The healed version. The peaceful version. The confident version. The joyful version. The version that no longer lives under the weight of fear. The version that finally understands how deeply loved they truly are. And my child, you are closer to becoming that person than you think. Do not give up now. Do not turn back now. Do not surrender to hopelessness now. You have come too far. I have brought you too far. The road ahead may still contain challenges, but it also contains victories. It contains healing. It contains restoration. It contains unexpected joy. It contains divine appointments. It contains moments that will make you realize why you had to keep walking. There are blessings on the horizon that you cannot yet see. There are prayers already moving toward their appointed answers. There are doors already being prepared. There are miracles already unfolding behind scenes invisible to your eyes. Trust me, not because everything makes sense, but because I remain faithful even when life does not make sense. My beloved child, I want to leave you with one final picture. Imagine a traveler walking through a long valley before dawn. The road is dark. The air is cold. The destination cannot yet be seen. And for a moment the traveler wonders,